What's up everyone, Darcblade here with a freelancer's guide to Anthem. In this beginner's guide we're going to cover the elemental effects our javelins have available to them. Via abilities, we are able to inflict up to 4 elemental debuffs, effects and dots on our opponents. But what are they? This video aims to bring you a brief overview of each of the 4 elements. Elemental attacks and effects are basically additional effects granted to you by your abilities when they hit an opponent. This is on top of the base damage that the ability already deals. They are also instrumental when it comes to combos, normally being used as the primers and sometimes detonators of the combo system. But this video isn't about combos, that will be covered in a separate one. Anyway, what are the elemental effects we have? First is the fire element. Attacks that are fire based and deal fire damage leave a damage over time effect on enemies, whittling away your opponent's health for a short period while they burn. Fire attacks are also extremely strong against physical shields and armour, normally indicated by yellow health bars. However, on the flip side, fire attacks are very weak when it comes to energy shields, i.e. blue health bars. Next is the ice element. When you hit a monster with an ice attack, the ice debuff will start to slow your enemy down. Eventually though, after you've hit them enough times with an ice element, it can completely freeze the enemy, leaving them incapacitated, providing you with a source of crowd control in all honesty. On top of that, ice abilities also deal greater damage against energy shields represented by blue health bars, but in order for that enemy to be frozen you actually have to get rid of the blue health bar completely. Unfortunately though, ice attacks are less effective against physical shields and armour, i.e. enemies with yellow health bars, but you can still put that chill and freezing effect on them. Next is the electricity based element. The electric effects will cause an area of effect damage to enemies, chaining the damage from one enemy to those who are close by it. So a great way of clearing waves of weaker enemies. Electric based abilities also deal greater damage to energy shields, i.e. blue health bars, but on the flip side again they deal less damage to enemies who have physical armour, such as those with yellow health bars. And finally is the acid element. Acid works slightly different to the other elements here. Instead, when you hit an enemy with an acid based ability, will put a defensive debuff on that foe, and thus any further damage to that enemy whilst the acid is on them will take more damage. Acid is strong against enemies with physical armour, so yellow health bars, but again to every pro there is a con, and is fairly weak to enemies who have shields, i.e. blue health bars. So those are the elemental attacks we have available to us. Of course there are other forms of attack, there's impact and explosive attacks, but these are not elemental based. These are straight up damage dealing abilities that have no real additional effect, so they won't be covered in this video. But when you're taking your javelin into a hunt, consider what abilities you have. It can be considered quite prudent, depending what enemies you are facing, to take a ability that is both good against shields and armour, but it's entirely up to you. If you're looking to do damage over time to enemies, consider taking a fire ability. If you want to provide crowd control, then maybe consider taking an ice ability. If you want to wave clear weaker adds quite effectively, consider electric abilities. And if you want to apply a damage debuff to your opponents, consider an acid ability. Last thing before I go though is remember that all of these effects can be applied to your javelin as well, i.e. your enemy hitting you with an elemental effect. So keep your eye on your UI to if you've been hit by an elemental effect and adapt to the situation accordingly. So there we have it, those are the basics about the elemental effects in Anthem. Of course this is aimed at beginners to the game, as expert players probably already know most of this information. Nonetheless, I hope you found it helpful, and until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you a freelancer's guide to the elemental effects in Anthem. Hope you enjoyed the little video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.